Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, August 31st. A much cooler morning here in the Mid-Atlantic region compared to the last few mornings. We have an easterly flow of air now in the I-95 corridor. High pressure has built into the north here. Frontal system dropped through the region late yesterday, then has stalled out in the general vicinity. Very unsettled conditions here today. We will have occasional showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two, and some of the rain can actually fall heavy at times. Most of these cells that are forming right now, and we'll look at radar in a moment or two, are moving quite slowly. That will allow for the possibility of some quick accumulation of rainfall, not only later this morning, but into the afternoon and evening hours. So again, occasional showers likely today, much cooler here in the Mid-Atlantic region with an easterly flow of air. High temperatures generally confined to the 70s compared to the 90s over the past few days. Before we get to the local weather situation, let's take a look at the tropical scene. We've talked about this over the past few days. It is looking more and more active. In fact, there are a couple of areas of interest right now. Very well could be a tropical system near Florida, or more likely the Gulf of Mexico by the early part of next week. Not necessarily a named system, but it should provide some heavy rainfall for that part of the country, from Florida across the Gulf of Mexico region. There's also a second wave out over Africa, just off the west coast of Africa right here. Calling it Tropical Depression 6 here. This is a very good chance of developing into a hurricane over the next couple of days as it continues a west-northwest track like that. However, the good news is at this point in time, it looks like it'll probably start turning and move away into the North Atlantic. We will obviously keep our eye on that. That very well could take a curvature type of track well away from the U.S. East Coast. Meanwhile, there's a disturbance right in this region right here, and we've talked about the upper air pattern over the past several days, and we'll look at that again in a moment, where high pressure, strong high pressure, is setting up to the north over New England, southeastern Canada. That produces a flow of air in this fashion, clockwise flow around highs, and that will allow for any kind of a system that forms to move in a west direction or north direction, perhaps in this fashion, and that is what I expect to see with this particular wave. It'll probably be near Florida or over the Gulf of Mexico by Monday, Labor Day, for example, maybe Tuesday. Once it gets out over the Gulf, it could intensify, but even if it doesn't, there could be some heavy rainfall in Florida and over the Gulf of Mexico, and very well could get some significant rain over the next 5 or 10 days in that part of the nation. And here's a look at the morning IR satellite image from the University of Wisconsin website. Again, a pretty impressive wave here off the west coast of Africa. Very well could become a hurricane. I believe it would become Hurricane Florence if that happens, or Tropical Storm Florence first and then hurricane. And it continues to move in this fashion over the next couple of days, probably turns to the north into the open Atlantic. Still too early to write that off completely. Obviously, we're several days away. That good chance of becoming a hurricane and a chance to move away from the U.S. East Coast into the open Atlantic. Meanwhile, another wave is in this vicinity right here. Kind of weakened some or split apart some overnight, but that's not the end of it. This area will continue to move to the west-northwest, probably cross Florida and into the Gulf of Mexico by the early part of next week. So we'll have to continue that. Not necessarily going to become a named system, but even if it doesn't, could be some heavy rainfall in this vicinity right here. Again, the general flow of air in this region with an upper level high up to our north will allow for tropical systems to move to the northwest or west towards Florida or the Gulf of Mexico over the next several days. Well, in fact, let's take a look at that upper level pattern that again favors the possibility of tropical systems moving from the east to the west towards Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, the southeast U.S. over coming days, and that is all due to abnormally strong heights over the northeastern part of the country, southeastern part of Canada. Look what happens as we walk through these forecast maps for the next several days. We just have a continuation of orange or above normal heights, higher pressure than normal up in the southeastern part of Canada, This is now into Sunday, and we go into Monday, Labor Day itself, and right here we have strong high pressure up in this region, right over the Mid-Atlantic region, clockwise flow of air around it at all levels of the atmosphere, basically pushing any tropical system to the west or northwest, and this area becomes vulnerable. Southeastern U.S., Florida, Gulf of Mexico, and again, there very well could be a tropical system right around this area right here come the early part of next week, so we'll continue to monitor that over the next few days. Well, let's get back close at home. Here's the U.S. surface map as of this morning, Friday morning. Big change in the air mass overnight in Philadelphia, D.C., New York City. High pressure has moved to southeastern Canada. That weak frontal system that was to our northwest yesterday morning grudgingly has slipped just to the south and east of Philadelphia, New York City, right around the D.C. area. It's really just going to stall out and kind of dissipate in this region right here, a familiar pattern to what we've experienced plenty of times this summer. That makes it quite unsettled. It produces enough instability for occasional showers and thunderstorms. High pressure to our north, clockwise flow of air around it, and here we have an east to northeast flow of air into Philadelphia, D.C., New York City. It'll drop temperatures from 15 degrees, for example, compared to yesterday, and even more compared to Wednesday afternoon. We were 95 Wednesday afternoon in much of the I-95 corridor. This afternoon, closer to 75 degrees with lots of clouds and occasional showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two. Again, this front just sits around for the next few days, keeps us unsettled not only today, but tomorrow, Sunday, and probably Monday as well. And here's a look at the radar. There are some showers right now in southeastern Pennsylvania and a lot of numerous shower activity out across central Pennsylvania. And these showers are moving along at a slow pace. Again, something that's happened quite a bit this summer. You kind of notice they tend to spread out here and even expanding in Chester County right now. The result can be some heavy rainfall, can be some accumulation of rain over an hour or so that's quite high, with slow movement of these shower cells and perhaps later in the day some thunderstorm cells. But again, occasional showers, much cooler today, and east to northeast flow of air, confining temperature to the 70s this afternoon. But watch out for pockets of heavy rainfall anytime today and into the night tonight. Well, let's wrap up by taking a look at last night's 6E GFS model run. Here we are Friday morning, and there is some green right over the Mid-Atlantic right now. We just saw the radar, certainly some scattered showers, and some of those are producing downpours. Strong high pressure to the north, a persistent easterly flow of air for the next 12 to 24 hours or so. Let's move forward here. Again, some of this rainfall later today can be on the heavy side and into tonight. Excuse me, that high pressure continues to push an easterly flow of air into the region into the day on Saturday. We could get a little bit warmer Saturday afternoon in the I-95 corridor region, maybe 80 degrees, 82 degrees, as compared to, let's say, 75 to 78 degrees this afternoon, but still much cooler than recent days, and continuation of unsettled conditions as that front just dissipates right nearby. Certainly will not be a total washout on Saturday or Sunday. Much of the time will be rain-free, but there can be an occasional shower on Saturday and Sunday with a thunderstorm or two mixed in. And really this pattern just continues right into Labor Day Monday. It's still high pressure in control, maybe a little bit warmer by the time we get to Monday. Upper 80s possible in some areas on Monday afternoon, and then perhaps touching the 90-degree mark Tuesday and Wednesday, with again a continuation of unsettled conditions and possible showers and thunderstorms. I notice here by Monday afternoon lots of rain showing up in the southeastern part of the nation. Again, there can very well be a tropical wave near Florida or over the eastern Gulf of Mexico by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday. So a pickup in tropical activity as the calendar turns from August to September. Much cooler today in the I-95 corridor with occasional showers. Some of the rain today can fall heavily at times. Unsettled this weekend, not a total washout on any of the days, but there can be an occasional shower or thunderstorm. It gradually gets warmer, so that by the time we get to Monday, we're back up fairly close to the 90-degree mark, and it'll stay near 90 on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.